Let's talk about some important considerations for writing Essay 2. First, we need to make a consideration about who you're writing the essay for. I understand that I am your evaluator as well as your grader for this essay, but I'm not, as your instructor, your audience. You need to have a consideration that when you write an academic essay for college, unless you're asked to write a personal reflection, you should not be writing in first person. First person pronouns are I, me, and my. Second person pronouns are going to be you and your. So I don't want you writing with any of those pronouns or any of those words in this essay for me. You need to be addressing a third party or a third person. Third person pronouns may include he, she, it, they, them, their. Here we need to direct toward an audience. So for this particular essay, we might say people. We're addressing this to people. Maybe people that have siblings, adults, young adults, American youth. So make it an audience that has a relationship with what the topic is actually about. So second, you need to have a purpose for your actual essay. Are you trying to inform your reader? Are you trying to persuade them? Perhaps you're trying to entertain them. Based off of the purpose that you have for your essay, you're going to actually be able to present different types of supporting details for your body paragraphs. So if you were going to be informing your audience about the advantages and disadvantages, as well as how a person is shaped in their overall future in regard to their siblings, you're going to have facts, statistics, quotes, descriptions, examples. These types of supporting details will be in your body paragraphs, which support your main idea, or main ideas, excuse me. If you are going to be persuading your audience that you're talking about the advantages and disadvantages, and perhaps you're leaning more toward one side of those, maybe I think that there are more advantages than disadvantages, and so I'm putting a positive tone of what I'm trying to say, that positively it influences and shapes a person's future. I'm going to be persuading my audience that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages of having siblings. So my entire essay is going to be persuading my reader, whomever that may be, whether it be people that have siblings, young adults, Americans. I'm going to be persuading my reader that the way I feel about this particular topic. Last, you could look at entertaining. I highly doubt the essay that you have in front of you for Essay 2 is really going to be of the entertaining type, but if you were to have an entertaining piece, you would probably use more description, examples, or explanation. Last, you need to make a consideration about tone, and I mentioned tone just a moment ago when I was talking about persuading. You need to be able to have a particular, the way that you are asserting your voice. You choose the words that you write with, and at times you need to be very choosy for the words that are selected. At times, if you're trying to persuade someone, you have to be very active with the voice that you use and the tone that you use, and possibly persuasive, sometimes telling your reader in a third person stance what they should be doing or what they should be asserting. If you're going to inform your reader and using facts and statistics and quotes, you're probably going to take a very neutral stance. You're not trying to persuade them one way or the other, but what you're trying to do is be very neutral and just bring the information so that your reader can make the assertion of what they want to believe based off the information. So before I move forward, I just want to make sure all students understand what the essay assignment is. I know we've already talked about the synthesis chart. You should have already created it, had an overview to make sure you understood it, how you would use those readings. So make sure that you're drawing on the examples given in your readings. 2 of those readings were your own research article. One was one from the Close Encounters of a Special Kind. You're going to look at the advantages, disadvantages of having siblings, and then you're going to further explain how siblings shape a person's future. Students are expected to use MLA format. That includes the heading, the font, the size. I don't want any centered essays. That doesn't make any sense. It has to be left flush, indented. If you don't know how to do MLA, you need to go to YouTube and type in MLA format. Very brief 3-minute videos will show you. MLA is not something that will go away. This is required of all extending departments at Ranger College as well as major universities including Tarleton and Howard Payne. And if you use quotes, you have to use in-text citation and must create a works cited page. Those things are required if you're going to use quotes, and you can't use someone's exact words without quoting them, or you're committing plagiarism, and plagiarism is a no-no, and it could result in a 0 for plagiarizing. So any of those pieces that I've just mentioned for MLA can be found on YouTube, very simply just typing in what you need to in YouTube. Sometimes watching a video is at times a little bit easier. So last, let's look at a chicken scratch outline. I know that sounds kind of strange, but we've done a formal outline before, and it's not to say that people don't use formal outlines, but I think sometimes, I don't want to say that we're in a rush, but sometimes when we're at a point where we just want to outline some information, all we're doing is just jotting down information to prepare for a rough draft. And so that's your task this week, is that you're preparing for a rough draft. So let's very quickly, and I don't know if this image came out very well, but let's very quickly talk about a chicken scratch outline. So your first paragraph of your 5-paragraph essay, it's your introduction. Inside of your introduction, you have a hook sentence that pulls the reader in, gets them interested in what you're going to talk about. Then you've got background information of your topic. Well, your topic is siblings. And the very last sentence that you have in your introduction paragraph is your thesis statement. There should be 3 parts that are included in your thesis statement, and we've talked about this before. You have to mention your topic, you have to mention your main ideas, and you last have to mention your claim. Basically, what's your tone? Are you saying that the advantages and disadvantages, as well as how a person is shaped by their siblings, is that important? Is it not important? Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it neutral? Have some tone. We all have our opinion. It's not impossible to give it in a third party or a third person stance. After you have your introduction paragraph, you have your body paragraphs. Now, all body paragraphs are structured the same way. The biggest difference is they each have different main ideas. So let's talk about, and make sure that you're referencing your synthesis chart, because that's where you're going to get your evidence from. First body paragraph is advantages of having siblings. So the first body paragraph, the first sentence of any body paragraph, is going to be your topic sentence. And you have to have 3 parts to write a topic sentence. What's your topic about for your whole essay? It's about siblings. What's your main idea? Advantages of having siblings. And last, what's your claim? Are you saying it's good? The advantages are good. Is it important? Is it not important? Again, what's your tone? What tone are you taking with this main idea? After you write your topic sentence, what are your supporting details? Go back to your synthesis chart. What did your articles give you? What did they provide you as evidence for your particular main idea we're using here? That's why we read. It's what we wanted to pull together. Okay? So use the articles as supporting details. And the very last sentence of any body paragraph is a conclusion sentence. This conclusion sentence is going to be started with a transition word, such as in conclusion, maybe overall, to sum up. These are words that help the reader know, hey, this main idea is going to be finishing. Then you go into your body paragraph 2. That main idea is disadvantages of having siblings. Structured the same way of what I just said a moment ago. The last body paragraph is going to be how a person is shaped in their future by having siblings. Structured the exact same way as what I mentioned just a moment ago. The very last paragraph of any 5-paragraph essay is going to be a conclusion paragraph. Alright? And so you need to be able to summarize all of your main ideas. I didn't say take your topic sentences and shove them in the conclusion paragraph. That's not what I said. I didn't say take your information from your introduction and just slap it in. You have to be able to rewrite. You've got to be able to summarize what you're trying to say. Alright? And then give some type of advice or give some guidance to your reader. Why did they come to your essay? Maybe what were they informed of? What should they be persuaded of? What is the ultimate intent of them getting through your entire essay? So that very briefly is a chicken scratch outline. All of those pieces just very briefly described how you should be structuring, and that is honestly very practical of what students do when they go in, they sit down, whether TSI testing or whether it be any other for English class. This is very briefly how students are structuring their own outline. It's a mere guidance of how you should be structured. If you have any questions or concerns, please contact me.